What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And earlier today, I did a video discussing the 2021 MLB postseason up until... So now, I decided, the 2021 World Series in and of itself more than deserved its own video. So that's what this video is going to be, because I looked back at last year, I discussed the 2020 World Series. So, just like I said before, just like last time, I decided it's more fun to have the gameplay here so you guys can kind of watch a game versus looking at the whiteboard while I'm talking. So, of course, we have the Atlanta team at the Houston team, just because that's where the final game was played of the 2021 season, in Minute Maid Park in Houston. So, without further ado, we'll start, and I'm going to start by looking at the World Series. We're going to go game by game. We're not going to go in complete in-depth analysis for each game, but you know how it is. So game one was in Houston, and it saw Atlanta perform pretty well. So right off the bat, Charlie Morton was pitching a gem. Now, it is noted that he ended up getting hit in the leg with a comebacker, and he did fracture his leg. Now, he threw 16 pitches on a fractured leg. That right there is a moment that we will be remembering in the World Series for a long time. Kind of like the bloody sock incident in 2004 with the Red Sox. So, you got to give a lot of kudos to Charlie Morton for doing that. He definitely wanted this ring. He wanted to play in the World Series. He actually apologized that he couldn't play more, but you can't blame him. Anyway, a big name came up for one of the two offenses in this game, and that was outfielder Jorge Soler, who went 2 for 5 with a homer as Atlanta defeated Houston 6-2 in Game 1. Game 2 came into play now, and right off the bat, you knew it was a critical game here. Houston kind of knew they needed to win because you don't want to go to Atlanta down 2-0. They also knew... Atlanta knew that they wanted to be up 2-0 going to their home stadium because they wanted to be able to win it all in front of their fans. How did this game work out? Well, Jose Urquidy, the pitcher for Houston, had himself a solid game. He pitched 5 innings where he did allow 2 runs, but he had 7 strikeouts. On the flip side, on their offense, Jose Altuve was probably the best player on their offense as he provided a homer and a clutch hit. He went 2 for 4. As Houston was able to defeat Atlanta 7-2. So now the series traveled across, I guess you could say across the time zone to Atlanta, as Atlanta began to play host. So it was interesting. Right off the bat, Atlanta chose to have Ian Anderson pitch, and he had himself a strong game. While the numbers weren't all that spectacular, he only had 4 strikeouts and he did have 3 walks, he did not allow a hit through 5 innings. The bullpen stepped up as well, and they combined to pitch 4 innings of 2-hit baseball with 3 more strikeouts. So, Atlanta was ready to go. They brought a no-hitter into the 8th inning, I believe it was, and they were ready to go. It was just a spectacular game for Atlanta pitching-wise. It wasn't something that we were expecting in the World Series. That's for sure. Especially with a team like Houston, who's, supposed to be one of the best teams in the league. Atlanta would win this game 2-0, mainly because of their elite starting pitching, which put them up in the series 2-1. So then we got to Game 4. And Game 4 was another crucial one. Houston had the lead early on, but Atlanta took it back pretty quickly with a couple of clutch homers from Dansby Swanson and, more notably, a pinch hit home run from Jorge Soler. Atlanta would win this game 3-2, putting them up 3-1 in the series, 1 game away from finally clinching their first World Series since 1995. Game 5 was always going to be the last game played in Atlanta this World Series. So the pressure was on both teams. They had their backs up against the wall. They had to win or they would be done. On the flip side, Atlanta wanted to win the series at home in front of their home fans. Because what's better than winning the World Series in front of your own fans? Not much. How did the game work out? It was an offensive game. The final score was 9-5. Now, no player in particular really stood out, but there were some players that had some good plays. Adam Duvall for Atlanta hit a grand slam. That was a very impressive play for Atlanta. And then for Houston, Yuli Gurriel went 3 for 5, and Carlos Correa also went 3 for 5. Martin Maldonado went 1 for 3 with a walk, but he had 3 RBIs. Who would win this game? Houston would. 9-5, forcing the series to go back to Houston with Atlanta up 3-2. So then we got to Game 6. And this game, right off the bat, one team took the lead and they never looked back. That team was the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta came in clutch when they needed to. They did everything they could. Max Fried went out there. He threw 6 innings of shutout baseball. He allowed 4 hits, but he had 6 strikeouts. He looked great. Other than him, the offense was there. Freddie Freeman hit a homer. Jorge Soler hit another homer. Dansby Swanson hit a homer. Ozzie Albies had a solid game, although he didn't hit a homer. And at that point, the Atlanta Braves won the 2021 World Series by the final score of 7-0 in Game 6, thus winning the series 4-2. After the series, Jorge Soler was named the World Series MVP. Now, you guys know I'm not a fan of Atlanta baseball, but that's because I'm a Phillies fan, of course. I had a rant video about this team, and there will be one coming up about Houston too, don't worry. And trust me, this World Series will be a point on that video. But there's a person that I know that's been an Atlanta Braves fan for as long as I remember. Whenever we talk baseball, he's always been an Atlanta fan. So he was kind enough to join us for this video to give us a fan perspective on how it feels to win a World Series for the first time in your lifetime. Please join me in welcoming Patrick. Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So I'm kind of curious, how does it feel seeing your team win a World Series, especially now after all the years of our back and forth discussions about our teams?
Right. It feels great. Obviously, it's been years and years for this. We've been waiting. One of the key players that we know, Freddie Freeman, well deserved. Something he's been waiting for the past 12 years, as being part of the Braves organization. Snicker, obviously, he's been waiting decades as he's been, in the minor leagues and worked his way up. He's been a third base coach when Freeman made his debut. So this was something else that he was waiting for. But as a fan, yeah, this is huge. And it's not only huge for Braves, obviously, first one since '95, so it's 26 years. But huge for the city itself, because obviously, I'm sure you can remember this game where the Atlanta Falcons were in the Super Bowl, and they blew a lead that I'm pretty sure was 28-3, if I'm correct.
Yes.
With the magic power of Mr. Brady. So that was a huge loss, and a lot of people, thought everything's cursed. Atlanta sports teams are going to choke, and that was a huge thing going into this because, at first, being a Braves fan, I didn't think that the Braves were going to get past the Dodgers in the championship series in NL, but they did it, and they proved that they can still come back from losing, Cunha, from losing Ozuna, losing Soroka, and they can put themselves together with what they have, make some moves and stuff, acquisitions that they got, for example, like Rosario, huge acquisition. In the playoffs, this guy went off like crazy with homers, especially in games 3 and 4 of the World Series. So yeah, this is huge. So going into this, once they made it to the World Series, everybody's like, all right, so it's either Atlanta gets it or they get embarrassed again as being a sports team in Atlanta. And they were up, originally they were up 3-1, which is good. And of course they blew game 2. So everybody was worried that, they're going to get bit in the butt again, they're going to lose and they're going to get choked by the Astros. But luckily they didn't. And they were able to pull it off. Yeah, it wasn't on their home turf because, the way the setup is, 2 games here, 2 games there, the rest over back in Houston. So It was good, and it's a really good feeling. And obviously, tomorrow they got the championship parade. It's starting in downtown, and they're gonna finish it over by in Cobb County by the current stadium. And I also heard that superstars like Ludacris and Big Boy are going to be performing. so, so that will be fun for sure. Obviously, I'm not going to be attending it, but I'll be, I'm sure, following it on social media and stuff. But yeah, it's great. The feeling is great. And here it's like the feeling that Atlanta finally has a franchise winning. They did back in 2018. Their soccer team won a title, but the major sports teams are more basketball, baseball, and football in Atlanta. The Hawks, have been good, and they have potential in the next coming years. So, yeah. So overall, yeah, the feeling's good. So.
You know what's interesting? You mentioned Super Bowl 51, where the Falcons blew that 25-point lead. Did you know that Super Bowl was actually played in Houston?
Yeah, that's funny. I figured that, I didn't figure that out until after they won, because I was watching the post interview, where Ortiz, A-Rod, what's the other guy's name? The baseball player on the end there. I forget his name, but the guy they call Big Hurt. I forget his name. But when they all sat down together, did the post game interview. Yeah, that's when I realized that. I was like, oh, what a coincidence, They win it against Houston and away in Houston. So,
was it Frank Thomas by chance?
Yes. So
okay.
That's what it was. Frank Thomas, and then the other guy, the analyst, the host on the other end. So,
yeah. Do you feel that there's been like a little bit of a you mentioned curse? Do you feel like that curse has been lifted now that especially an Atlanta team winning the championship in Houston? Do you think that kind of really helps out a bit with breaking the curse?
Yeah, for sure. Does it wipe it completely away? I wouldn't say so, but it definitely wipes away, the existing curse that was on Atlanta with the Falcons losing. The Hawks, since they've been in Atlanta, haven't won a championship yet. But that's on the rise, with Trae Young the last couple of years, and they got chances for that. So, yeah, the city overall, the curse is not healed, but the curse is definitely lifted. For at least the next 5 years, while the Braves enjoy this championship. And as a Braves fan, it's like, they won a championship, so it's like I'm expecting, the next few years. I don't think they're going to repeat next year, and I'm not expecting them to be amazing next year. So, as a city overall, the curse is definitely lifted for, I'd say, probably the next 4 or 5 years, and it'll probably be brought back if, the Falcons can't get a Super Bowl or the Hawks can't get a championship or so.
My last question to you is, are there any players in particular, other than Freddie Freeman, because I know you're a big Freddie Freeman fan, you've mentioned it before, are there any players that you're extremely happy for winning the championship? I know, of course, Acuna, we all wish that he was playing in this World Series. Obviously, it's a shame that he tore his ACL, and it's great for him and the team that they won the World Series without him. It's different, though, because it's always more fun for him to actually play there. But other than Freeman, is there any player that you're extremely happy for winning the series?
I mean, I'd probably say Dansby Swanson. Something I knew about him that I also heard when they were doing the post World Series interviews with all the players after they celebrated was that Swanson literally grew up 20 minutes from the stadium where the current one is in Cobb County. He literally grew up 20 minutes away, went to high school, played baseball, everything. So he is literally a homegrown hero in Atlanta. And to be, a homegrown hero, no matter what sport it is, winning in your town with your team, is huge because, he said himself, he grew up an Atlanta Braves fan. Me, myself, I've been to 2 or 3 Braves games when they were playing in Turner Field. It seems like, Turner Field, they never had any luck. I mean, if you think about it, where did they win the World Series in 95? That wasn't in Turner Field. I'm pretty sure that was in Fulton County Stadium. But, Turner Field came and gone, and now that they're at Truist Park, and Dansby Swanson for sure, I'd say, would be one that was well deserving of this.
Go ahead.
So Freddie, yeah, like I said, well-deserved win for Freddie Freeman. 12 years he's been with the Braves. I've seen him play in person 2 or 3 times. Um, in a second, I'll touch on, the future of him. But let me just say, overall, as a player, this is a huge accomplishment for him. Um, because, he's won the, Golden Glove nominee and everything. And basically, I feel like this World Series for him topped him off as an athlete. No matter now going to no matter if he stays with the Braves or not, which I'm hoping he does, with this World Series win, his career is complete in my opinion. He's got everything he wants. He was here for a long time. He got the championship. He's got numerous awards. Like he's set. I mean, what else can he do? Like as a player, he's all around complete now. So.
As a Phillies fan, I hope he leaves the team. But at the same time, he's a great player, and it'll be good to see what happens with him. I didn't know that Swanson was actually born in the general area of Atlanta. That's interesting. That's pretty cool. And if you're watching the simulated game, yeah, this isn't how Max Fried pitched in the World Series. I can tell you that. I know you're not watching the game right now, Patrick, but it's 5-1 through the first inning. Houston's up. So, yeah.
So another huge thing. Dansby Swanson. I'm pretty sure he said he grew up in Marietta, Georgia, which is like 15 minutes from the stadium, the current stadium. But the another thing Swanson, I believe, said in the post-game interview was that all these players, even Snitker, the manager, they all are a tight group. For the last few years, they all grew up, going through the minor leagues. Dan Swanson was saying him, Riley, who else? Other key players, all played with the Mississippi Braves in the minors a few years before getting up to the big leagues. And they said they've known each other for the past couple of years, and to get this championship is huge because it's clearly one that definitely represents not only a single person like Freddie Freeman being the face of the Braves, but a team effort, a complete overall effort, and to have a manager like Snitker that saw everybody come up, including Freeman, over a decade ago. It's quite a well worth win. So.
Yeah, like you're saying, teams have to realize that you got to win a championship, you have to build from within. And Atlanta is right now the blueprint for that, because you see teams like Philly, New York, Yankees, the New York Mets, they're throwing money around trying to buy free agents. They're throwing prospects at other teams to get trades for free agents, and it doesn't work out. Those three teams combined for 0 wins in the playoffs this year. And 2 of them didn't even make the playoffs. So it was a spectacular turnaround for Atlanta, too, this year. Obviously, they started off a bit cold. At one point in the summer, they were behind the Phillies for the NL East crown, but Atlanta rallied. I got to give them credit for that. But is there anything else that you wanted to add today?
Not really. I mean, just, it's 1 or 2 points going forward. I mean, where are people going to go? I mean, Freeman himself wants to stay in Atlanta, retire with the Braves, lifelong dream probably of his, besides the World Series. And that'll be interesting. This could be another video, but, who's going to be the next face of the Braves if he leaves, whether it's Acuna and stuff, because that's what everybody would think. So you never know, but, that's pretty much all I have.
The big thing with Acuna, of course, is how is he going to do coming off that torn ACL? An ACL tear is not a death sentence in sports like it was 20 years ago, but it's still not easy to rebound, especially with a player with Acuna's skill set, where he likes the speed, and it's going to change how he plays defense. So, but yeah, the one thing I do want to touch on, too, for you with Freddie Freeman is right off the top of your head, if you had to guess, if he were to retire today, which obviously he's not going to, do you think he'd be a Hall of Famer? He is a 5-time All-Star player. He obviously won the World Series. He does have the NL MVP award. He does have a Gold Glove award. He's got the Hank Aaron award, and he's a 2-time Silver Slugger. So he's done a lot.
Right. Honestly, before they got this World Series win, I'd say it's on the fence. Like, that'd be really close. But with this World Series win, I think, like I said, before I touched on before, topping this off as an all-around career and being able to, Golden Glove, all those awards. So, yes, to answer your question, I'd say now, I'd say he's definitely has a good chance of getting in the Hall of Fame in the future. So
I'd love to see it. He's got to get a 296 more hits because then he'll be at 2,000. But yeah, with all the accolades he has, he's more than on his way there. But thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. It was fun to get an Atlanta fan's perspective on how the World Series went. I liked, you told me a lot of stories I didn't hear, I didn't know about. So I really appreciate it. Thank you again for joining me, Patrick.
yeah, no problem. And screw the Astros.
I think we can all agree on that statement right there. All right, hey, thank you all for joining us today in this video. This one, again, like I said, we discussed the 2021 World Series. Atlanta Braves are your 2021 MLB champions. They will hold that crown, so I'm very happy for that. But again, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And if you're a Phillies fan or a Mets fan or a Marlins fan or a Nationals fan, trust me, we know where we're at. But right now, we're looking up at Atlanta. All right, guys, have a good rest of your day.